Being in a Grand Theft Auto Online public session is a very scary and sketchy thing to do, especially if you want to sell some of your product, let's say for your motorcycle club or your acid lab in a public session. One of the major things I try to find out and cover when I'm doing videos like this is to figure out what is the best armored vehicle for almost all situations to help you survive as long as possible in a public lobby. And today's video is going to be on the Duke of Death. The Duke of Death originally came into Grand Theft Auto Online with a price tag of $665,000. However, that is no longer the case. If you are a returning player from Xbox 360 to a newer generation console like the Xbox One, you were able to get the Duke of Death for free, and Rockstar originally designed it like that. But the problem was they had a bit of a bug with their coding, and it turns out that they just gave up and said, you know what, everybody can get the Duke of Death for free. To prove this, you just make your way over to Warstock Cash and Carry, sort by price, and there you have it, the Duke of Death. It's absolutely fantastic that you can get this vehicle for free. And my account, for example, which is my Broke to Millions account, I started brand new just about 5 or 6 months ago. So yeah, you can very easily stack an entire garage full of Duke of Deaths if you want for free. And I should point out that this is not the slowest vehicle. It actually goes at a top speed of 114.25 miles per hour, which, while it is not incredibly fast, is not slow either, especially for how armored this vehicle is. It's a heck of a lot faster than a vehicle like the armored Kuruma. Not only is the Duke of Death decent on its top speed, but one of my favorite parts about this vehicle is the fact that it has tremendous amounts of weight carried with it. The Duke of Death can easily smash cars off of the road with no problem whatsoever, allowing it to very easily just deal with people. I see a car, speed, and yeah, there you go, a perfect example. It's actually crazy that the Duke does have this capability, because the Duke's been in the game for a very long time, and the armored Kuruma, for example, does not have these smashing capabilities that a vehicle like the Duke has. But as you can see, it is one of the fantastic things about the Duke is that you don't get slowed down when running in the cars. Now, the major reason why this is absolutely fantastic for an online lobby, if you think about it, is that let's say there's a griefer trying to chase you. Sometimes what griefers will try to do is they'll drive into your car to slow you down and possibly throw a sticky bomb or try and shoot you. However, when using a vehicle like the Duke's, if a griefer smashes into you, let's say at full speed, well, darn, I was gonna say darn, I'm gonna keep on going, but that time it actually slowed me down quite a bit. But as you saw on the previous ones, like that there, you're just gonna knock them right out of the way. Occasionally, yes, you will be spun out, but for the most of them, as you can see there, I mean, I literally just demolished that Infernus with no problem whatsoever, and that is definitely one of the major benefits of driving a vehicle that has some weight on it. The other fantastic parts about the Duke is its missile survivability. The Duke can survive 9 homing missiles. Yes, 9. Well, actually, it's 8. The 9th one will blow it up. But the fact that it can survive 8 homing missiles is pretty dang impressive. And while this is not an Amani Tech vehicle that can take off the ability to lock on with homing, so you can fly in, let's say, a Buzzard or a Sparrow or any flying vehicle that has homing missiles and shoot them at this vehicle while homing on it. But still, the fact that this vehicle can survive 8 of them is absolutely massive. Not only can it survive 8 homing missiles, but it can also survive up to 3 sticky bombs and RPGs, essentially making this vehicle incredibly hard to deal with when it comes to any explosions. I mean, this thing is fast enough, it's mobile enough to very easily get in the cover if somebody's trying to blow you up. You can very easily get under a tunnel. You know, somebody who's trying to shoot missiles at me right now, maybe 2 would hit me, and then I just go in here and boom, I'm completely covered. Some of the other fantastic things about the Duke of Death is its armor protection when it comes to bullets. For example, if you are driving this vehicle as a single player, you have not the best protection, I'll admit, but some protection. All of the armor on this vehicle, as you can see, all of this armor plating here counts as armor plating. It's not like, for example, the Amani Tech vehicles where the glass is just able to be shot directly through. If you're using a minigun, it's still going to stop these bullets, which is absolutely fantastic and a great thing about the Duke. And unlike the armored Kuruma, where if you're using a minigun, you can just blow up the vehicle very quickly, or, mind you, not just blow up the armored Kuruma in one shot, this vehicle can actually take quite a beating from a minigun, about 45 seconds of non-stop fire and it won't be blown up. But yeah, the Duke has pretty decent driver protection. At least from the front, it's pretty hard to just snap somebody in the face unless you have auto aim on, which I guess defeats the purpose. However, another great thing about the Duke is that the back of this vehicle is completely bulletproof. You can see that here. I originally thought when I first bought this vehicle back in the day that this was just cosmetic, but no, this is all completely bulletproof. So if there is somebody trying to grief you or, you know, ruin your day in any way, usually what I like to do is I will just run them over by reversing. If they're trying to blow you up, I just drive backwards into them, run them over, and then I'll spin around really quickly and then boom, pop them in the face. Now, this armor does come at some downsides. For example, you can only shoot at about an arc of like 25 degrees to one side, and then the other side you get a pretty decent arc to shoot at, as you can see, but it's only over the front, so you do got to keep that in mind. Only over the front you can shoot with the Duke. Once you get towards the back, you're not actually going to be able to shoot at all, especially behind you, because of the fact that you do have that bulletproof protection. So having upsides of armor does obviously come with downsides, but the fact that this vehicle is free, the fact that it is fast, the fact that it has the ability to push cars out of the way, and the fact that it has this much protection is honestly just amazing, and you can still shoot out of it, which is great. Vehicles like the Night Shark are good. Don't get me wrong, the Night Shark can survive upwards of 27 homing missiles, but the Night Shark is not nearly as maneuverable as a vehicle like the Duco Death. It also does not have nearly the bulletproof protection that a vehicle like this does. I should also point out that if you have a second person in the vehicle, I forgot to say this, but if you do have a second person in the vehicle, that is the only spot you can try and shoot them through. Yeah, good luck on that. I mean, essentially, if you have a second person in the vehicle, they are not going to be killed, and that's actually great, because it means that if you're trying to sell product and you have two people, you'll very easily still have somebody else in the vehicle that can continue on driving. Some of the major disadvantages a lot of armored vehicles carry when it comes to protection especially has to do with missions. Let's say you're doing heist setups for the Cayo Perico heist, or you're doing heist setups for the casino heist, and you have to fight a bunch of bad guys. For example, when I was trying to do the Criminal Mastermind Challenge with my friends to get that $10 million payout for completing all of the missions on hard and not dying once, it was always very tricky to figure out what was the best vehicle to use, and honestly, it was always down to the Duco Death and the armored Kuruma. The problem is, for some of the missions, there are helicopters that will shoot explosive rounds at you, like the Valkyrie, or not even explosive rounds, but sometimes you'll fight buzzards, and the buzzards will end up shooting missiles at you. And even though the missiles they shoot are incredibly inaccurate and 99% of the time do not hit you, it only takes one direct hit from a buzzard missile or a couple hits from a Valkyrie missile to blow up your armored Kuruma. And the problem with that is if you get blown up doing the Criminal Mastermind Challenge, you have to literally restart the entirety of everything from scratch. Because of that, the vehicle that I kept going back over and over and over again to was this, the Duco Death. Amani Tech vehicles are great, don't get me wrong. Some of the Amani Tech vehicles like the Obey Ominous EGT and even the new Virtue have the ability to survive massive amounts of homing missiles, upwards of like 10, which is more than you'll ever need to deal with in a lobby, and not even that, but the fact that it can survive so much missiles means that you're never going to have to worry about being blown up even if you do get hit. The problem is that they don't have bulletproof glass, and even if you do pull out armored vehicles like Amani Tech Dubachi Champion, Buffalo STX that do have semi-bulletproof glass, the problem with those vehicles is that they only have bulletproof glass for the first couple of hits, where a vehicle like the Duco Death doesn't have fully armored glass, but it does have enough protection that it should do pretty fine. For example, right now, we are doing Titan of a Job, which is a pretty easy mission, and this is a fantastic mission to showcase the survivability in a mission to how the Duco Death's armor is going to work. As you can see, you've got a big ol' engine block, a big ol' engine scoop in the front of your vehicle, and that actually counts as armor, so when you're driving this vehicle, it works pretty well. So, we're going to complete this mission very quickly, and it's going to showcase just how dang well the Duke's armor works. But the great thing is, if you ever do get low health doing a mission, all you need to do is turn the Duke around, and boom, now you've got full bulletproof protection from the AI you're fighting. So as you can see right now, we have just been absolutely tanking shells in the Duke. I mean, we've taken a little bit of damage, as you can see, but it's nothing that I really need to worry about. We can just eat a couple snacks. We'll be right back up to full. We're going to get this guy. There you go. This guy, I mean, it is so easy to take advantage of the Duke's armor capabilities. There are not a lot of vehicles that you can do this with. I mean, for example, if I were to pull out a vehicle like the Buffalo STX, I guarantee that we would have already had to eat snacks. We would have had to go into cover just because of the fact that the Buffalo STX and all the other vehicles that have the semi-bulletproof glass will have broken their glass at this point. But, I mean, this is easy. Come on, show me your head. Hooah! There you go. So already we have basically cleared out this entire area, as you can see. All I'm going to do at this point is get out of my vehicle. Oh, there's somebody over here. Missed you. There you are. So let's get into the truck, move it out of the way, make our way into the Titan. And I should point out, I did not have to use a single snack this entire mission. That is pretty impressive. For any of you that want to try this mission out with any other armored vehicles to see how they perform, it's Titan of a job. It's the first mission to pop up in the job section. It is very easy to complete, but it's a good way to showcase the difference in armored vehicles. So I'm gonna go make my way over to Sandy Shores Airfield and finish this up. Alright, well, we are clearing out the crowd, but as you'll notice, I am taking damage in the process, and that's because the majority of my glass has been broken at this point. I'm trying to conserve all of my glass panels that I have, but I've already had to use some snacks here just because of the way the glass works on this vehicle. You can imagine doing harder missions where the AI have much better weapons. For example, the Doomsday heist setups, the AI have very, very deadly weapons. And you can imagine doing the Doomsday heist setups without having any protection on a vehicle like this is going to fall apart very quickly. For example, if I drive over to an AI like that, my glass does literally nothing to protect me. If I was in a vehicle like the Duke of Death, I guarantee that I would not be stuck in a situation where an AI can just face blast me with a bunch of ammo. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my take on the Duke of Death. It is an absolutely amazing vehicle that has just incredible armor layout for a car that was released into the game literally 8 years ago. Personally, I believe that the Duke of Death is still a contender for one of the best armored vehicles available, and the fact that it is literally free means that there's no excuse to not try it out. The only vehicle that I believe is probably a better choice than the Duke of Death when it comes to frontal protection is the ZR380, specifically the Future Shock ZR380, because the front glass is fully bulletproof. But apart from that, there's really not all too much that comes close. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.